Episode 2, Revenant, shakes up the formula from the previous episodes and seasons by allowing us to experience the first act story in one fell swoop. This was apparently done thanks to community feedback. The format exposes just how much content there truly is, but it also allows for experimentation in the way the story is told. In fact, there's a certain section that if you know, you know. In fact, it's less telling and more showing, which is actually the improvement that is made, because it's actually less telling, so positive for showing. In classic Destiny 2 fashion, a cutscene leads us in. And of course, I'm still forgetting to start recording when I'm in the character menu. Surely I will remember to do that one day. The contents of said cutscene introduce us, the theme, and characters at play. I know that Aldrin somehow created the Scorn, but the details of how are unknown, to me specifically. Now that they are Crow, he will finally confront pChal. The Eliksni are roped into this conflict as well, thanks to the earlier figure. Somehow, pChal has created a new type of Scorn thanks to his newly obtained Echo. The spider is just chilling. Mithrax is a character that I know nothing about, but he sure does exist. Crow hints that something is off about him, and that's the more intriguing part about his character to me. His daughter Eido is also another major character to note. We land in Europa and answered the distress call from the Eliksni.
We're responding to a distress call from House Salvation civilians. They wouldn't ask us for help if it wasn't dire, so let's use our leverage wisely. This is a humanitarian mission, so hold fire on all Eliksni targets. Good luck.
Yes, so a couple of interesting things to take note of here. First of all, we're answering a distress call from House Salvation civilians, which is interesting to note that first of all, we're actually going to interact with some civilians, and second of all, they're from House Salvation, which is Eramis's crew. So they're technically an opposing faction, although the whole stake on whatever Eramis and however that ended up is a little bit confusing to me because Eramis was never brought back. I don't even know if she's still frozen or if she's dead or what happened to her. So that's pretty interesting that we are back here helping, the non-combatants at the very least. And since, we're helping the civilians, Crow mentions that this is a humanitarian mission, so we shouldn't just fire willy-nilly on all the random Eliksni. Yeah, so as we approach the target, it's actually pretty neat. We get to look at some Eliksni just in the wild. There's some dregs. Cool to see some, civilian NPCs and not just enemies all around. Adds to the liveliness of the world. I'm just staring at the ceiling for no reason. Very cool. Oh yeah, I am using Trinity Ghoul instead of the Verloc Curve for right now, mainly because I'm trying to level up the Catalyst in order to get Trinity Ghoul up there, because I'm just working on getting all the catalyst for the bows done, because those are something I'm working on in the background.
Report that Eramis is on site. Your orders are to take her alive. Now, I know she's caused a lot of damage, but killing her will only harden anti-human sentiment. I'm not turning my first op as Hunter Vanguard into a bloodbath.
Alright, so Crow actually updates us on Eramis' status. So apparently she was unfrozen. Sorry, not unstabbed. She was unfrozen at some point. I have no idea when that would be. That literally leaves any time from after Beyond Light to right now, which is an incredibly long period of time. It's actually pretty crazy that she was never mentioned in the main story at some point, or her status was not. I bet it was through in some season, maybe the one dealing with Mithrax, that her situation was explained, but I'm not sure what that was. But just going to take care of some enemies as we continue on. Yeah, so we are back in Reese Reborn, and it's pretty cool to see location changing. This is something that was also done in episode 1, and all of the places in Nessus, or at least for the missions, were changed. It would have been cool to have the actual role change, but unfortunately not. So here is where I'm having a little bit of trouble, because I don't know if this is a hitbox issue. Why is that immune? Okay, I actually get on top of it because, I realize I clearly need to destroy something, and this object above the cage is probably something I should be destroying. Yet here I'm hitting it for immune. I'm not doing any damage to it, and the hitboxes are weird because if I try to shoot it from down here, I was just hitting null. I have no idea why the hitboxes here are so wonky. It takes me forever to actually manage to do any damage here. I don't know why. Why am I doing? Why is it immune? It makes no sense that it's immune. I was trying so hard to figure out what is happening here, and it was just nothing was working out. Let me just skip forward. It was literally entire minute of trying to fucking destroy this thing until I did my first thing of damage. It's not even consistent. It's just randomly doing some amount of damage. So I wonder if that's a Trinity Ghoul specific issue because the call took it out much easier that time around. So I wonder if it is just a Trinity Ghoul issue. That's weird though. Really annoying. Cringe.
It's not an attack, it's a roundup. But new Scorn only come from dead Elixni. So why do they want the prisoners alive?
I don't know why Crow assumes they want the prisoners alive. Like, I don't know, maybe they just kill off the Elixni while they're in captive and they raise them. But I suppose the mystery it's setting up is, well, I guess apparently that maybe with Fickrell's new Echo, he can just turn the living Elixni into Scorn, which might be the new type of Scorn I mentioned in the little teaser, which is interesting.
How Salvation ships are bailing for Earth and the Helm just arrived to take on stragglers. There's a lot of reasonable distrust of Eramis' people, but I'm taking the long view. I want to prove that hunters can build bridges, not just blow them up.
Yeah, so once again, we're mentioning Eramis, and it's pretty interesting to think that we are indeed freeing the prisoners that are specifically part of Eramis' crew. The problem with the call is that it is a rocket sidearm, so the rocket splash damage is still doing damage to me.
The freed civvies keep referring to them as naviskirisk, which translates to not lifeless. Not sure what they mean by that yet. Xenobiological analysis is in. These Scorn are made of living tissue, Guardian, not necrotic like normal. Naviskirisk. Fickrell must have found a new source of power. Something paracausal.
Yep, that's definitely the Echo that was mentioned earlier. So it's pretty interesting that Fickrell is able to turn a living Elixni into, Scorn. That's actually a pretty insane power. But here we are. We actually see Eramis and we're fighting alongside her.
I'll send you back to the drift again and again.
So gonna take a good look at her model. It's pretty wild seeing Eramis fighting next to us. Last time I was out killing her and she turned into a block of ice. Here we see Fickrell appear. Very cool. Yeah, so we've explained his Echo here. I think it was only hinted at previously or implied, but I knew of it somehow before this moment. Yep, so going to take care of this Revenant Baron, a brand new type of Scorn. I think I say brand new, but I think they're all just remodeled versions of the previous Scorn, which is fine. But it is also cool because Scorn were previously remodeled Elixni, and now we're remodeling the remodels of the Elixni. So now we've gone through multiple permutations, which is very interesting to think about in theory and concept, and what Fickrell is doing with the body of the Elixni. So here we do see a little new mechanic, the Revenant totems. Very very interesting. I assume that if you let the totem stay there for too long, the enemy will just respawn. Which is interesting because now it presumes that these enemies are kind of like ghosts, which is kind of what, the power of light was hinting at. But instead of, just being able to turn the dead into Scorn, which seems more like a power of light, he's now able to turn the living into a Scorn, which kind of seems like a power of darkness. But maybe that Fickrell is just misunderstanding how his powers work, or maybe there's some weird thematic, juxtaposition going on. I'm just not too sure at what is the deeper meaning behind it, because it really does seem like, with the power of light, he should already have been able to turn the dead into living. With the power of darkness, he can now turn the living into Scorn as well. I think that might make a little bit more sense. So I wonder if Fickrell is just, confused about the situation, not understanding the powers, or if I'm reading too deep into it. But yes, that is why I assume the Revenant happens when you destroy the Revenant totems. Wow. Yeesh.
Eramis is getting away, Guardian. Chase her down.
So Eramis goes ahead and disappears. I'm pretty sure we just go ahead and chase her. I don't know why she just teleports ahead. Okay, you just walk, but too cool for that apparently. Too cool. Not literally this time around though.
Damn. Fickrell got his hands on an Echo. He's using it to mutate the ether of living Elixni. That explains this new breed of Scorn and why he wants the captives alive. For now, let's keep our eyes on the prize. Eramis is cornered. I'm coming down to personally negotiate her surrender. Stand by.
All right, so Crow, it just is very explicit about, what we saw. as I just stand here for no reason, just waiting for me to move forward as Crow is about to come down and visit Eramis herself, which is interesting. You know, last time, I keep on mentioning, last time I saw Eramis, she was a block of ice, and now she's not going to be a block. She's no longer a block of ice. She might be an ally, which is interesting to think about. Although the way the situation is presented, it doesn't really seem like we're becoming allies. It seems more like we're holding her hostage. But, you know, taking a good look at the decorations all around. Pretty cool to see this place reused and for us to actually have a reason to come back here, you know?
This has been a long time coming. Eramis, it's not for me to judge you. I speak for the people of the last city now. They're demanding justice for all the people you've harmed. Guardians and civilians both. And it's my job to deliver you.
The justice of thieves and oppressors. What hypocrisy. Your blades are covered in the ether of my kin.
Think of the kin you have left. They're aboard the helm right now and they need you. You can't abandon them. Besides, if I came back without you, Eido would never forgive me.
If I come quietly, you will guarantee safe harbor for my people.
As long as they disarm and live peacefully with House Light, they'll be safe in the city. You have my word.
I expect the Guardian to enforce that. Now take me to Eido.
All right, so Eramis is actually coming with us. You know, pretty self-explanatory dialogue. I don't need to really explain anything happening there. But seeing the animation of Eramis actually getting her hands like locked up in like these electric paracausal chains and handcuffs, pretty neat visual effect. Just like seeing all the stuff happening unfold by itself is good visual detail.
This is the Hunter Vanguard. We have a high-value prisoner on board and a House Salvation catch inbound. Prepare for boarding defense.
It's kind of weird how Crow is just holding Eramis at gunpoint. Sorry, I'm interrupting cutscene, but who cares? It's kind of weird that Crow is just holding Eramis at gunpoint, like in the middle of the helm. Like, why is this happening here? Why is this? There's plenty of rooms in the helm. Like, why is this just happening here? In the middle, right next to like. No, well, it's right next to nothing, but it's like right in front of failsafe, which is like, you know, I don't know why it's here. But sorry, I was interrupting the dialogue.
We don't want to fight your rescue team, Eramis. Call them off.
I'm not the one in need of a rescue. Once he finds you.
So Crow supposes that that's Eramis' rescue team.
It's too late.
And that he was obviously referring to Fickroll.
I bring a gift. The power to make all Elixir our children. Reborn through extinction. Reason has scored.
So it's actually pretty wild that Fickroll is just on our ship, by the way. Like, I didn't know people could just transmat onto our ship. Like, how is this possible? But here we see the actual transformation Fickroll is doing, wielding the power of the Echo. Pretty gnarly transformation. Fickroll also calls him the Kel of Kells. So he's supposing himself as the leader of all Lixney, which is, you know, a pretty arrogant statement. His ship even crashes into the helm, which is a little wild. Saw those poor drones get flung out.
Due to a comprehensive failure of arc conduit systems and my extensive experience with crash landings, please brace for turbulence as we slam directly into.
You know, yeah, because when Failsafe first crashed down into Nexus, it was like, was it the Exodus Black? I think that's the name of the ship or something. I feel like that's correct. I don't know why else that name would come to me, but yeah. And so now we're crashing again. We made it into our ship though, you know, before the helm crashed. So good job us. We didn't go down completely. As I load in, I realize that here I'm actually in the last city, which is, I think, the first time that I've been down here. I don't know if we've been down here previously at some point, but it is pretty wild that we are finally in the city proper. There's even a neat little portal that takes us back to the helm where our important baubles that we obtained are not destroyed. There is even Captain Jacobson that we can still pet, you know. Very important feature, you know, the most relevant and lasting impact from episode 1 echoes is, or not even, oh, sorry, it is episode 1 echoes. I was getting confused with the episodes and acts there. But, you know, glad to see the most important and lasting feature of episode 1 echoes. I don't know why I keep on forcing episode 1 in there. Is alive. So nice pet the frog. Cool little ramen shop down here. Shame that, you know, we can't actually buy anything from it. Here we're able to talk and interact with the spider, but I believe he has to do with the dungeon, so I will get to him a little bit later. And, you know, I take some time and I go ahead and explore the rest of the market district. You know, I'm really taking in the details, absorbing everything. You know, it's not like the most complex, you know, city or hub area, but it is just neat to be able to immerse yourself in the world a little bit further. You know, it would be cooler if, you know, like the NPCs had more distinct animations or patterns or loops they were doing, or if they're more interactables, but they're working within the limitations of, you know, what they can do. So this is already a pretty neat advancement. Going in the water just insta-kills us, which is really cringe, but hate to see it. Anyways, go ahead and walk into the Tonic Laboratory. Very expansive location. Very cool, very neat. Gonna go ahead and just talk to Eido.
What just happened? I can't believe the helm is gone.
Technically, it's not completely gone.
Small section of the ship from Europa.
The most important part.
Feel safe alone out there again. We must.
Oh, it's interesting. Oh, so it's also interesting to note that we rescued the ship from Europa.
And so, welcome to my tonic shop.
So the way this conversation is going, it seems like we've already met Eido previously at some point, probably when we met Mithrax, but to me, Eido is a completely new character. So this is like my first proper introduction. So it's good to establish her character here. And it's already obvious, you know, just from the visual design, the location she's established. She's mentioned she set up a tonic laboratory here. So we've already gotten some insights into her character, you know, even without anything going on.
Petra has been helping me search through old records, Techian research, even materials from the old House of Wolves. I found many references to tonics, elixirs my forebears used to treat sickness or grant strength.
So tonic specifically is actually also related to Elixian culture, which is a nice tie-in.
This wasn't common medicine. Old Reese was suffused with the light of the great machine. Some of these ingredients must have been too.
Good connection.
He's ailing. Nezarex's curse works upon him day by day.
Okay, so that explains Crow's earlier vague mystery of what was happening with Mithrax. Apparently, he is inflicted by a curse from Nezarec, so it's pretty neat to see Nezarec still has some influence in the world, since, you know, Lightfall was whatever, but pretty neat to see him mentioned here. I assume that he was probably defeated in the raid, so I guess he's not like technically dead, or there was a cutscene that played, but I don't remember that at all. After completing Lightfall, I think there was a cutscene that played explaining whatever happened to Nezarec, but I literally only have a vague memory and notion of it. But obviously, a curse lasting past the death of a character is not too uncommon. So it just might not even, Nezarec could be dead and the curse could still be active, which makes complete sense by how I assume most curses work based on previous media consumption. I mean, I probably didn't explain it, but whatever.
But I know there's a solution in here somewhere. I won't give up until I find it.
It also provides Eido with motive into why, you know, she's possibly exploring this alchemical route. You know, she's doing it in order to find something that could alleviate her father's, you know, ailment, which is a valuable and noble goal.
I hope my studies can be of some use to you as well. Whatever new power it is that Fikrul wields, we'll need a way to counteract it. For now, it may be helpful to study the revenants that Fikrul creates. It's unsavory, but we have to start somewhere. I believe my father wants to speak with you. Please, don't let him know that I'm worried for him.
I think it's pretty obvious, so I think she has to worry about that there.
Guardian.
All right, as we exit the tonic table, we notice Variks free Mithrax.
I regret that you must see me like this. I know.
So it is interesting that the subtitle refers to him as Mithrax instead of Mithras. So I assume that's just the difference between like what the Eliksni what his name is in Elixir and what his name is in, like, you know, Common. I don't know, I assume that's, I'm just gonna say that as a language to make it pretty basic. So it's interesting that there is like a translation difference between the names there. Mithrax might also be like an old personality, and now that he's hooked up and he's imbued with this machinery, he might have taken the name Mithrax, or it might be a title. I'm not too sure exactly. But it is just interesting that it is slightly different. Let me not interrupt the dialogue there. It's also, I say, let me not interrupt the dialogue, but you know, it's also, we also see Variks transmit in, so it's also pretty neat to see him return, because I also haven't seen him since Beyond Light.
I greet you in the light, Guardian. I regret that you must see me like this. Eido insists that this is slowing the curse, but it is no cure.
So we see him hooked up to like a taken apart, semi-dismantled servitor, which is actually really cool. Like having the previous technology created by the Elixir tie into, you know, Mithrax, and just seeing it modified is a nice touch and attention to detail. And, you know, it's a continuation on the technology. So that was already created by the Elixir. So it's actually really cool to see. I'd expand on that. It's also apparent that, you know, I say it's obvious, but based on the way Mithrax is talking, even though Eido insists that this is slowing the curse, Mithrax just feels like it's might not doing anything at all, and that might just be based on the symptoms he's feeling, but it does seem like he's implying something, since he is specifically saying it is no cure. I don't know if I'm reading too much into it, but it does seem like there might be a little bit more to it.
Much elixir medicine was forgotten. Eido seeks a remedy in secrets of old Reese.
There are few still living who know the ways of our lost home.
Eramis remembers. Captured by the Guardian this day, she will help.
Her love for the elixir is poisoned by her hatred of the great machine.
But now she will see wisdom in your path. Yes. Safety with House Light, protected by Guardians.
Safe, but not whole. I thought being near the great machine would help reclaim what we lost on Reese. But I look at our hatchlings now, living in the ruins of humanity, building lives from scrap, and I see that we are debased, corrupted, defiled, doomed to meet our final end as scorn.
Trust in Eido. Variks teaches the ways of house judgment. She will find old solutions to new problems. You will see.
Yeah, so Mithrax is just, you know, the curse is really getting them, basically. The curse is, maybe it's also because of the curse that he's feeling this down. So it could totally be because of the curse that he's also feeling this, you know, negative. I'm not too sure what his original character was like, or when he got this curse, or if this curse happened, you know, when it happened in the timeline. Because, like, maybe he only got it after we killed Nezarec, or why. I'm not too sure on the detail there, but the curse is definitely getting to him. Like, he's straight up doomer mode. We're out here saying corrupted, defiled, doomed to meet our final end as scorn. So, you know, he's lost a lot of hope, especially when he goes back and the way he talks about, you know, seeing the Elixir live in, you know, the ruins of humanity. It's clear that this is his, you know, pride as Elixir, and it's like, you know, he would rather see the Elixir live in like an Elixir city, like, you know, Reborn, but alas, they've been taken down to such a point that here they are living in another civilization. All right, Mithrax goes into further detail thing in this, you know, cutscene.
And our world was swept away in horror. After our great houses fell to betrayal and futile war, some elixir held hope for unity and a future for our people. I do not know how much time remains to me, but if none challenge Fikrul, that dream is lost. Fikrul will condemn elixir to decay and ruin. We will be a dead people, rolled over by the dead. life is for my daughter and my house. Let them see that I still believe the old stories. Old stories tell that when Reese was threatened by dangers no weapon could defeat, the Kells would call upon a Slayer Baron. One possessed of forgotten knowledge, capable of impossible feats. One who could stand against an unrelenting foe. Does that not describe you well, my friend? So much of our history is tale and myth, but the scribe Variks remembers much. And what he cannot recall, Eido will help you uncover. I name you my Slayer Baron, and I beg of you, defend our house, defend our people. Deliver them from this second whirlwind. And when the time comes, deliver them from my curse.
Yeah, so visually, you know, the cutscenes never really have ever disappointed. Pretty epic. Thematically, I really like the leaning into the history of the Elixir and, you know, the mythology and how a lot of it is forgotten in time, because it kind of plays into the whole theme of bringing the dead to life, right? We're bringing old stories, we're discussing myths, legends of, you know, the Slayer Baron. That's an old tale from Elixir culture, and we're bringing it back to life in order to fight against Fikrul. So thematically, it's all clicking into place. Thematically, the leaning into the mythology and the history of the Elixir when dealing with Fikrul and, you know, bringing the dead to life and turning Elixir into scorn, a transformation of their being, completely a corrupted perversion of their existence. You know, the setup is all there, especially when we get the whole curse angle of Mithrax revealing self here. This through its nice little shadow. So we have multiple angles working out. We have our fight against Fikrul. We have our connection with Eramis and building upon that trust and relationship. And we have the curse of Mithrax afflicting Mithrax that we also need to deal with. So multiple plot points going all in at the same time in parallel. So we have a lot to do in this one episode. So it's going to be interesting to see what is resolved and what isn't. I do feel like at least the Fikrul situation has to be resolved at some point. Maybe like the Mithrax curse, or sorry, the Mithrax curse on Mithrax is probably a little bit too complicated to completely solve in this. Yeah, it's probably too complicated to solve by the time this act resolves. It definitely seems like it's something that Mithrax might have to make a reappearance, or maybe we get afflicted by a curse, or maybe it has something to do with the dungeon. I'm not too sure, but Mithrax's involvement is a little bit too complicated, right? The fact that it's lasted this long from Lightfall and still reappearing here, I think this is too complex of a situation to solve by the end of the act. I mean, yeah, not too sure what else to really add here. I think the Eramis situation, is almost kind of already resolved in the first place. Like, we already took her prisoner. She came of her own free will. She'll probably want to stop Fikrul just because, you know, Scorn are only Elixir technically. You probably wouldn't even consider them Elixir. Or you talk to Mithrax.
Cruel and his minions continue to hunt down Elixir across the soul system. He doesn't seek to call them under his banner. He will warp their minds, control them. They will kneel, willing or otherwise. Kell of Kells, Slayer, Baron, these are old titles, but our faith in them holds strong. Even those in House Salvation will understand the role you play. Death came for Reese, and none could prevent it. But that does not have to be our future. I will not compel your obedience, Guardian. I beseech you, as kin, join your sword arms to mine.
Mithrax sounded pretty doomer, but, you know, I think now with this reinvigoration of us becoming the Slayer Baron, he's a little bit more reinvigorated. Maybe not for his own state of being, but maybe for the state of Elixir as a whole. So go ahead and kneel to him.
Stand against those who would cast us into ruin. Cut down all those who would destroy our house. Carve
Pretty
a
neat.
future for the living from the bones of the dead.
Pretty solid dialogue. You know, keeping it all nice and wrapped up in the whole thematic of, you know, necromancy, scorn, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, here I am taking a better look at the giant, I don't know, it's not a servitor, it's a fucking walker. But the giant walker in the middle here, you can see all these little baubles and ornaments attached to it. All the wires too, it's clear that, you know, this is also an expanded piece of technology. So it's like, once again, it is neat to just see, you know, the repurpose of all the old Elixir technology that was combined in order to create something new. It's just like, you know, pretty neat, good attention to detail. Nothing really more for me to say there. All right, go ahead and approach the tonic table, reading the. I read it, but it's like, come on, if you want to read it, do so yourself. All we get is the seasonal artifact, and that allows us to interact and create tonics.
We've been talking a little. I think we're... I visited Eramis in her cell.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk to, or listen to Eido's message.
Eramis in her cell. We've been talking a little. I think we're making progress. She's been more responsive lately. You've been out there protecting our people. Even she has to admit that much. I mentioned that I've been working with Variks to track down information about tonics. Eramis said she knew a couple of older Elixir with knowledge of such things. If we could track down an apothecary, it would speed up my research considerably. In the meantime, Eramis also spoke of a Salvation Enclave that might need our help. I sent Crow the coordinates. I might have left out the part where Eramis gave them to us. I know, but I think we can trust Eramis to look after the interests of her own people. I'm sure Crow will see that soon enough. Trust me on this?
I don't know if Crow would object too much to that piece of information, but the way this is structured, it feels like there might have been a mission in between us talking to Mithrax and us getting this message here, and that was just removed. But I'm not too sure, mainly because this is our introduction to tonics properly. So, I mean, I don't really have too much to say about the tonics, at least at this point. I mean, they're really basic. I think they'll probably get more advanced, but it's like, I mean, they're so minor. Like, really? Increased weapon drops for 20 minutes? Wow. Cool. Like, I guess it makes more sense. Like, I guess the higher tiers are probably a little bit better, but it's like, I don't know. Like, maybe the effects for the future ones are going to be much stronger, but these ones are not particularly exciting or intriguing. I had the exact same problem with the Riven Wishes. Like, all the basic purchases were incredibly lame. But here I am taking a better look at the animation of us brewing a tonic. Really neat. Pretty cool to see us pop in a potion. We can go ahead and do a neat little taste test where we go ahead and take a swig. Nice. Go ahead and imbue that potion after taking a test. All right, go ahead and open our inventory. Tonic capsule is contained within there. We can go ahead and apply the effect, which is equivalent to us drinking it. It's very cool. For some reason, I just took 5 seconds to dismantle or obtain my seasonal armor pieces, but no problem on that front. So let's go ahead and talk to Eido again. Blah, blah, blah. Great work. You're filling your tonics. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Talk to Variks on the holo projector after getting some more whatever. So this is just teaching us how to create multiple tonics. Wow. Very, very cool. All right. After doing that, we can talk to Variks.
Variks sees suspicion in the Slayer Baron.
I also like us getting a new title of Slayer Baron because it means we don't have to get called Guardian over and over again.
Variks. Perhaps he still desires to be Kell of Kells, yes? After all, many died to make it so. It is true that Variks wanted power, not for himself, but for all Elixni.
I mean, I don't. Okay, it is a. I think part of this like complexity in Variks' character comes from me not really knowing him when he was the manager of the prison of elders, and it's technically what led to Crow. Okay, so technically it did lead to Crow, but I meant to say it led to Cade's death, which led to Aldrin's death, which led to Crow. So technically, you know, I'm correct there, but that's not exactly what I meant with that phrasing. Variks, though, was the prison of elders, elder, and he was the warden, and he basically let those events unfold. So obviously it's incredibly complicated because I'm not entirely sure on all the details of what happened there. So I mainly know him from Beyond Light, and in Beyond Light, he was our vendor. And because he was our vendor, like we established a fairly positive relationship with him. So I didn't really think of Variks as being such a scheming and conniving character. But if I do try to think about, like, you know, what actually led to him in the previous events and whatnot, it does seem like, you know, the power play at the Prison of Elders could influence us to having had more negative thoughts about Variks than what I actually have about Variks, because I didn't experience that. So, you know, one of those ways that not having the complete story can really, like, you know, really change your perspective on different characters. Like, you know.
To build a new home filled with peace. But Variks lied to himself and his people. He was misled by darkness, and he lost the way of his house. And many terrors were born of his failure. Now Variks is humbled. He remembers he is not a Kel. He is a scribe. House judgment is not the way of fighting or ruling. It is the way of keeping history, promoting justice, teaching hatchlings. So Variks will train Eido.
All right, so it seems like Variks has undergone a change and is no longer vying for a position of being a Kel, but is instead being a scribe. So, you know, keeping history, making sure the Elixir culture progresses and is able to evolve and expand into future generations, you know, fairly admirable goal. You know, I'm pretty sure most people don't want their cultures to be erased. That's probably not a good thing overall. It is also interesting to see that Variks never replaced his fourth arm. I mean, his other arm is also mechanical, so I don't know if he's opposed to not getting a new arm or what's happening there. I guess he just maybe didn't have the chance to get a new arm until now. Maybe he was just on Europa and nobody was like, you want a new arm? Or maybe he doesn't want a new arm just because, like, it's symbolically important when Eramis ripped his hand off. I don't know. Maybe Eramis will give him a new hand. Maybe Variks will get a, like, super powered hand. Maybe he'll get Mithrax's hand and he'll be a combined Mithrax x Variks empowered being with the power of battle and knowledge. Probably not. That does not seem where his character is going. He's obviously taking a more mentor role, especially for Eido. He's definitely, like, you know, the Gandalf, Obi-Wan Kenobi figure. So, you know, like, I had to explain what a mentor character was. Good job, man. All right, Eido just bombards us with a giant wall of text. I mean, if you want to read this, feel free to do so. You can sum it up pretty easily, as in it's just generic text that we're obviously, like, this in particular is obviously text you were supposed to get after completing some sort of mission, like probably whatever the seasonal mission is. I know what the seasonal mission is, but you don't yet. Unless you do, then you do know. But if you don't know, then you don't know. Wow, crazy, I know. But yeah, after picking up the bittersweet power weapon, and let me know if these rolls are predetermined or if they're completely random, by the way. Oh, and speaking of the rules, there's apparently a situation going on with like perks being weighted weirdly. You know, I haven't watched the data video or the Paltassi video. I've just seen the thumbnails, and it's like something wacky is going on. So pretty wild to know that something is scuffed with the perks at the very least. So rip bozos. I guess crafting probably made up for most of that, right? Like how many weapons could you not craft? Although I guess it was probably the argument would be like time wasted for those roles, but I mean that's where crafting comes in, like right? Like, I don't know what situation what crafting is like. If you would craft most of the roles, I don't know if it matters at all in the grand scheme of things. But that is not for me to discuss about right now or maybe ever, because what am I supposed to say about it? That's what you can get my uninformed take, and once I'm informed on the situation, it's not going to be any better. Just watch someone more informed about that. In any case, moving on to the filler part of the episode, we have our fieldworks where we just have to go do kill some trash mobs or do some, that's it. It's just, generic MMO, trash, quest, fill time. Like, what do you want me to say about this? Wow, go collect a mysterious object and kill 50 targets in the Perdition Lost Sector. Like, come on. Look. You come on. You know what happens. Like, seriously. Oh, yeah, Jesus Christ. Wow, words that did not want to come out. So the mysterious object we pick up is a stasis chunk, I believe, which is, actually, that might not be it. It might have been it. I don't hit tab here, so I'm not entirely sure, but I'm just going to go ahead and believe that the stasis chunk I picked up was indeed the mysterious object, which is what completes that portion of the field work. No special dialogue or anything. I did press, hold on, I'm going to scroll down. I opened my task menu and don't scroll down. Come on, gonna give me a second. Yeah, so it does say mysterious object collected. So the stasis chunk was the ingredients and it was the mysterious object. So, just gotta waste time and kill 45 more targets. Wow, how exciting. All right. After completing both fieldworks, go ahead and place the mysterious objects in the laboratory. Wow, nice. Go ahead and talk to Eido now, and we can complete and collect our rewards. Just gotta take those small tonic reagent sacks. Nice little bonus. Gotta create some more potions, get some nice ingredients. I mean, it's like we were kind of forced to complete them anyways, so it's not like this is like completely random. I'm pretty sure statistically, we're getting within, the average amount of whatever currency we'll need. And I mean, we can just farm the currency anyways through seasonal activity. So it's not like it really matters, but we do unlock the major fieldwork section. So we can go ahead and pick up any of the major fieldworks. Obviously, I just pick up the first one for Europa because I mean, like, why did I just not do the Europa stuff first? No reason to get all wacky and do like the Europa minor missions and then go do the moon. Like, that's weird. No one, like, who's doing that? If you do that, you are weird, for sure. All right, so we drink the experimental tonic at the station set up by Eido in Europa for some reason. This takes us into an instance. Here we have a limited amount of time to defeat 15 combatants. I don't know if there is anything wacky about this section aside from the timer, but having to defeat 15 enemies in 2 minutes is like embarrassingly easy. Like, I have no idea, like, why this, like, really? Like, really? We have to defeat 15 enemies in 2 minutes? Like, whoa, like, I don't understand why this major fieldwork was like this. Like, did I miss something? Am I not understanding something? Like, what happened here? Like, why is the major fieldwork like this? It's so weird. Why is the major fieldwork easier than the minor fieldworks? It took significantly less time too. I just had to go to one location, interact with something, and then kill 15 enemies. This actually took me like less than a minute total to complete compared to the minor fieldworks. Why is it? What happened here? What happened here? Please explain to me. What happened here?
This isn't enough. Father would sooner throw himself at Thickroll than listen to me. Give me a chance to heal him. The things he says to me, the thing he's becoming. Some days I don't even recognize him. And then one day, he'll just be gone. There's so much at stake. So much to hold in so few hands. Thickroll must be stopped, but if I must pay the price of losing my father to do it,
Hey, Anjali, what do you think? Does Bray have any clue what he's doing with this gate?
Thank you, Slayer Baron, for listening to me. Thank you for all that you do to fight in my father's name. In our people's name. You are truly of our catch.
Okay, for some reason, the dead exo all can also just spawn into this instance. I have no idea why there's another 2 minutes remaining for the mission end. Like what happened here? Like, seriously, something must have went wrong. Like, I feel like something went wrong. Also, I think I missed something earlier. Like, when I was jumping up here, like, there's a little glowy thing. Nope. That's when I'm turning back. Like, there's a little glowy thing on the rock. That might just be an enemy. That might just be a light. I mean, if it was important, you know, we probably would have had interacted with it. But, you know. Anyways, that aside, the actual substance of what Eido says, she's just developing Mithrax's character a little bit more and their relationship, right? So, most important telling line is the things he says to me, the thing he's becoming. Some days I don't even recognize him. So this is just, you know, showing how much the curse is influencing Mithrax and, you know, what it's having, the impact that's having on his character, essentially. Because, you know, this is pretty unfortunate for Eido. Like, you know, the fact that she's losing her father in real time. Honestly, the parallel might be similar to like dementia or something. That might be the angle that they're going at here because, you know, it's pretty rough, you know, seeing someone you knew and loved become the worst version of yourself or become, you know, not themselves entirely. It's pretty difficult, pretty rough, you know. So the emotional heart and core there is pretty striking. Of course, I can just interact with this random dead exo. It's gonna ignore that. I hope it didn't cut off any important lines or anything. It doesn't seem like it did. It probably just played directly after the line. So we go ahead and turn in our major fieldwork, and we get the Blood Drive tonic upgrade. Collecting Reclaim Vitality has a chance to reward uncommon reagents. I mean, I have no idea what Reclaim Vitality is, so sure, but it might just be like one of the things we can pick up. That's probably it, but pretty neat to have that, I guess. Probably, I mean, I'm going to end up having all of them, so it's not like it really matters. But all right, Eido goes ahead and informs us that, you know, of more stuff. She's like, oh, congratulations, you're so good. Anyways, we get a brand new seasonal weapon, the XU Valle. I don't know, that's obviously not how you say it. The Zuvier? Is that how you say it? Zuvier? Zuvaya? Zuvaya. Nah, it's not like a sound. It's like an AE, right? It's like a like a. Zuvaye, the Zuvia. I'm feeling Zuvia. Zuvia's, yeah, you know, I'm gonna go with Zuvia. You know, the E is silent here. The Zuvia. All right, that's what I've decided to call this. I could totally Google the name and how to pronounce it, but I'm not going to because why would I ever do that? Imagine being informed on a topic. Cringe. We only conclude over here. Do a little bit of housekeeping. I mean, it's not important at all. Wow. Go ahead and read some of the lore. Pretty interesting stuff there. I mean, I guess I should discuss it, but I don't know how I want to completely discuss all that stuff quite yet. But yeah, the role, we have triple tap, which seems not terrible. Headstone, which seems pretty good. I mean, that's basically the Verglass's curve, you know, exotic perk, except, you know, worse. Like, you know, when you think about it, like the Verglass curve killing, it literally has, it's basically this perk, except better because you actually get to control the placement of the crystals and you get to stack multiple crystals and you get a chain chatter multiple crystals in order to get more crystals. So I guess that's where the basis of the Verglass curve came from, and they just expanded upon that. So honestly, you know, seeing where the original exotic trait here is pretty interesting. I probably have seen this at some point, but I obviously did not remember it, but not bad. I mean, I'll probably use this, you know, just for fun, I guess. I don't know how good of a role it is. I don't know how much it even really matters. Like, you know, I'm not out here doing Grandmaster content just yet. All right, so the marker is a little bit confusing, but, you know, I realize that it's not inside the building, so I go ahead and follow it outside.
Your battles against the Revenants to save Elixir captives from a fate worse than death. It's like one of our old fables. I've learned so much about our lost homeworld lately. About how ether flowed through all the plants and animals there, not just the Elixir. But for every drop I learn, there's a whole tank full that was forgotten. That's why it's so important that we learn from the few survivors, like Variks and Eramis. I know you and Eramis share animosity, as my father would say, but she's more than a leader or a fighter or a criminal. She's a rare link to the secrets of old Reese. I encourage you to put aside the past and let Eramis help us, or we risk making her the last of the Elixni.
So we're actually put into a pretty interesting situation because while we are definitely at odds with Eramis, it's not like she's completely irredeemable. I mean, she basically didn't antagonize us past Beyond Light. I mean, she might have, but that definitely was not felt, the influence is not felt in the rest of the story at all because I completely forgot about her. So, I mean, she's not really like, the craziest antagonist. I mean, she got frozen over. I mean, most of her justification is also mainly pretty fine because, she was doing the best she can for her people. She obviously felt betrayed by the Green Machine. So, like, out of the villains, most of her actions are fairly justified. It's done to preserve the Elixni people, their culture. She created, Reese, a recreation entirely on Europa. Pretty impressive. Obviously, she cares a lot. So, while we are at odds with her and are antagonistic, it's not like she's comparative and relative to other villains. She's really like, pretty low. Like, come on. She's not even a Callus, right? I mean, Callus is obviously, if we go back, his history and everything, he's obviously pretty antagonistic, but I don't know. Obviously, he's not Savathun. And to be fair, we also became allies with Savathun. So, things can happen. Things can happen. Oh yeah, also this line made me remember that Mithrax referred in his cutscene to their cataclysm, the Elixni cataclysm, as a whirlwind, which is, a different name than the cataclysm. It's just so I just want to point out that, it's pretty neat to hear the different names. And I completely forgot to point that out, but I remember to point it out right here, right now, as Eido was just, talking about, Elixni culture and the home world. It's like, oh yeah, it is pretty neat that they have a different name for their cataclysm, the whirlwind. Not bad attention to detail and world building. I really appreciate that. Let's see. Let's go ahead and interact with Eramis. Just kidding. Not going to interact with Eramis. Get pranked. I guess I was just making sure that there's no more lines here. I have no idea what's happening. My own actions confuse me.
I do not have time for your gawking. My council has presented me with a labyrinth of documents I must read. She has translated it into my language, obviously in an attempt to lull me into a false sense of security. Such theatrics as this will not fool me. There is no justice at the hands of humanity. Only death. Only death.
Obviously, Eramis is conflicted because, obviously, it is cool to see that Eido, translated the languages in order to, make Eramis more comfy and familiar with the text she is reading. So, nice job, Eido, showcasing her skills and the building of bridges.
Is this a gratifying sight or a frustrating one? You strike me as someone who appreciates finality. Not so.
Maybe getting a little bit meta there.
I am grateful for one thing. No Salvation captains share my cell. This remains a private humiliation. Eido claims you will defend both our houses against Fikrul's beasts. So, here it is, Slayer Baron. I know of another Salvation outpost. The Elixni there cut communications shortly before my incarceration. If any yet live, it seems likely they too are under threat. I once believed anything would be preferable to accepting your assistance. I have Fikrul to thank for illuminating me. I hope to demonstrate my gratitude in person before the end.
So once again, we have a common enemy, this time Fikrul, bringing together otherwise unlikely enemies. So, need to have a force to oppose. And with Crow's involvement with Fikrul and their relationship being fairly complex, however that story and that portion will unfold will also presumably lead to some weird shenanigans, right? Like, so far everything's pretty straightforward, but I'm sure we're gonna have end of Act 2 plot twist revealing some crazy wacky stuff happening in Act 3. So who knows what's gonna happen there? Let's go ahead and help Eramis though. In the mission, something left to say. Absolutely insane and really, really good flying in screen here as we get into orbit. Wow, like, you know, pretty astonishing view here. Nice. Here we are, Tangled Shore, the reef. I believe, so it's not that I believe. I know that this is apparently a location that was in Forsaken at some point, but was cut due to the DCV. Very cool, appreciate that one. So returning here is cool because for me, it's not a return, it's my first time. So this is practically a new location. I wouldn't even be surprised if, you know, there have been some modifications done to the area to make it new for, you know, older players as well, because that is probably makes sense, right? Probably not. They're probably not just gonna re-import the entire area as it was without having done some touch up and a little bit cleaning and remodeling to fit Fikrul's new aesthetic. But you know, it's pretty neat being here for the first time.
But it's weirdly quiet out there. Revenant Scorn have been turning up everywhere. We've really got to get a handle on this.
Also, I remember in The Witch Queen that it was presumed that Fikrul might have moved from the Tangled Shore, but I guess this is confirmation that he did not. He's been here this entire time. So I don't know if that means anything, but if it did mean something, sorry. But doesn't mean anything right now, I guess. Well, except we're here.
We are here. We wait for you.
So I actually run into a turn back screen as I try to approach the outer bounds, but unfortunately we are pushed in. You know, we see some Scorn that we actually don't have to kill because they are not aggressive. So this is what I mean. This section, as it expands, is this section I alluded to earlier, that if you knew, you knew. And overall, the scene, the tone, everything happening here is really good. Visual storytelling.
Father, we ever serve and await return.
I'm here. I'm back.
Look, I inspire, I avenge for you. Now we rule together. I as Kel, you King Aldrin.
So just based on the movements, based on the tone of the dialogue, how Crow approached the situation, the activity of the Scorn, the setup of what is happening and what is about to happen is being built up on. Like, you know, I don't think the revelation will be too much of a surprise, but it's the tension being built and, like, you know, the creepiness being added onto, and, you know, the pressure building and pushing in on you. That makes this scene and this area pretty up there.
This isn't... You don't have to do any of this. Please.
This is our purpose. Your teachings, to break their servitors, their lies, their trust in light.
I'm the one who lied to you. This is just pointless slaughter. Please. You can just stop. You can be more than this. I'll help you.
Crow, not great with words. I mean, not yeah. Crow, you're gonna have to do some workshopping with the memory of Cade in order to improve your dialogue here, Crow. Like, surely we can do a little bit better. I'm not saying the dialogue is bad, by the way. Dialogue is perfectly fine and makes sense for Crow's character. It's just that, you know, Crow is like in the charisma level, he's like 8, and Cade was like 20. So it's kind of hard to be up there and, you know, be convincing in your dialogue. But come on, this is so weak from Crow in his attitude. I'm no one who lied to you. This is just a publicity piece. Like, come on, Crow. Have some more conviction behind your words, more passion, some more gusto.
You are not you. You are a dead.
Yeah, Fikrul is not convinced by Crow here.
You steal his voice. Forget his.
Maybe we should have consulted Morrisov in order to have some conniving plan. But, you know, I'm sure, you know, Crow probably wanted to just resolve this by himself. But, you know, probably should have thought this one through a little bit more.
Damn it.
I almost killed myself there, but I was prepared for this to happen. Besides, our light is not entirely restricted, and so picking off these bozos is pretty easy. But You know, it's a shame Crow dipped on us. Like, come on, bro. But it's not like we needed him, I guess. Just gonna go ahead. I missed my arcane needles in the most embarrassing way possible there, but gonna go ahead and just do a little bit of punching to take care of these dudes. Wow. Very, very exciting. All right, after freeing all the cages, we destroy and defeat the Revenants, and that starts the actual exciting section where we pick up a bomb. Wow, exciting. Gonna go ahead and blow stuff up. So we do have to pick up a heavy object, which restricts our ability to shoot our gun, but it does not restrict our ability to, well, use abilities. And there's not really that many enemies here. The path is pretty straightforward. I summoned my Arc Buddy. I didn't even realize I was doing it, and that's how smooth of a process that was. There's really like no obstacles, and I'm able to make my way to the transmat zone way too easily. Like, wow, that was way too easy. That was actually just way too easy. Like, come on. Maybe I think, like, I really think that the path should have been like blocked. Like, we should have been forced to take a really, really crappy route, which would have forced us to interact with more enemies. Like, the problem is that this is just too open. Also, I had my Volt Buddy, and I don't think it would have been any more difficult that way either. But it would have been more of a challenge at least. Like, it would have felt not like Freelo. Like, come on.
Explosives taken care of. You did it, Guardian. At least no one else died today.
Yeah, I mean,
Death is all Fickle believes in. It's what I taught him to believe in. My faithful acolyte. I thought I could reach him. One more time. Let's go, Guardian. This is only going to get harder from here on out.
yeah, so Crow not able to reach Fickle with his words. I mean, really, Crow should have come up with better words, but obviously we're relying on Fickle and Aldrin's past relationship and whatever that bond led Fickle to believe. And since this influences his entire mission, it's I want to know how the existence of Fickle came to be. That is a mystery on my mind, but you know, pretty unfortunate for Crow. It is just proof that we're going to be facing against Fickle, and we probably will have to eliminate them from existence. Wow. All right, go ahead and interact with this little shark. I'll call them sharks, whatever.
New survivors come to Mithrax for protection, but the scorn come like a tide. They swarm.
So here, Variks actually says pChal. So I assume that. So first of all, I think I'm correct on my assumption that Mithrax and Mithrax is just like a translation between Elixni and Common for humanity or English or whatever. But the addition of Kel at the end there might also, obviously Kel is referring to the title of the leader or house leader of whatever the Elixni is. But the addition of Kel at the end there from Variks, first of all, is like a sign of respect and showing the status that Mithrax probably holds, because I don't think we refer to him as a Kel, although I guess technically he is a Kel of light, right? He is still the Kel of light. We just don't really think of him as that, or at least the dialogue presented to us doesn't really lead us to think of him like that actively.
For protection, but the scorn come like a tide. They swarm the reef. They build in secret, using the bones of old ruins. Catches full of prisoners vanish into the belt. Useful prisoners, yes. Many who might help us if we retrieve them swiftly. But Variks does not yet know where. Guardian.
I like that, you know, the voice actor has kept up the weird insect-like chatter. I believe the subtitles described it as from Beyond Light. It is interesting that the subtitles don't include it here, but I do like that the voice actor kept the detail. It really makes Variks, you know, stand out even more and adds to his, you know, overall characterization. Fickle is just able to contact us. No problem. Just keep an open line.
These old names, these stories, so easy to burn away. But you and I survive again and again to fight one another. You took father from me, just as you took my friends. As you took everything.
So Fickle obviously, you know, Just blames us for everything. No thinking, blaming us for his, very easy.
When I am killed of chaos, I will find a way to hurt you.
Well, so I thought, here, Fikrul supposes himself. Okay, so earlier on the helm, Fikrul supposed himself as the Kel of Kells. But here Fikrul says, when I am the Kel of Kells. So I suppose that on the ship, Fikrul was stating his intention to become Kel of Kells, which, is obviously exemplified here. But that would probably mean he has to take care of all the previous Kells first, which would be Mithrax, Eramis, and Variks, who are all still alive. So I wonder if any of them are going to die. It might seem... I don't know. It doesn't make sense for any of them to die. Not really. Maybe one of them might be turned into a Scorn. Like, I could see Eramis becoming partly turned into a Scorn through Fikrul's magic, and there's some weird tension there, like inner conflict or whatever. Maybe Eido gets turned into a Scorn or something. That'd be a little bit more interesting, actually, than any of the Kells. Mithrax becoming, his curse is enough of a storyline. Doesn't really need to get any more stuff added onto him. And Variks, I think his purpose as a scribe is fine. I think that's the proper evolution of his character. I don't really think him becoming a Scorn adds too much. I mean, you could obviously, write it in a way that it's important, but I think his mentorship role as just becoming a scribe for the Elixir is where he should reside. I honestly think, I think if Eido becomes a Scorn, that'd probably be the most interesting because, Eido is part of this young generation hoping to, heal her father. And if she became a Scorn and was able to use the powers of Scorn in order to heal Mithrax or relieve him from the curse somehow, would probably be the way to tie that in. But it'd be pretty wacky because, she's trying to save the culture of the Elixir and now she's become a Scorn. So where does that tie in? But that is my just writing fanfic here. No problem. But that's I suppose what might be happening there. All right, our next step is to actually do some Onslaught, but not any Onslaught, but Onslaught Salvation. Actually, I don't know if this is Onslaught Salvation. Actually, I'm just gonna say it's Onslaught Salvation because I can. But the Onslaught has been completely readjusted and modified in order to adapt to the brand new locations. And I think this is just a seasonal activity. They might come out with a new seasonal activity in Act 2. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. They might do the same thing with Battlegrounds leading into the exotic mission. Honestly, that's not a terrible formula, to be honest. Seasonal activity, then you have Battlegrounds leading into exotic mission. Honestly, pretty decent formula. So they might just continue that, which I'm not too opposed to be honest. Also, Onslaught, I don't know why I have this pause. It's oh wow, you really have to have this pause, but sorry, the red jack frames are fucking distracting me here by glitching out. Very cool, very cool. Somehow a teammate already died. Come on, bro. Nothing's happened. That can't be happening. This isn't even legend. But Mithrax, Crow, blah, 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 they're discussing, just take care of the fucking bozos over here. Nothing too important here, so I don't mind talking over that dialogue. But yes, like I was trying to say about Onslaught. Oh, they've also added a couple new upgrades. There's these operable turrets that you see, that you can man yourself. There's also the airstrikes that you can turn in. I think there's also been some balance changes. I was not paying attention to any of those. And by that, I mean, I didn't read any of the patch notes or anything because I don't care too much at this point. Maybe I will care at some point. But that point is not right now. Anyways, yes, like I'm trying to say, but I keep on not saying. The Onslaught game mode is pretty good and having a bit of adjustment done to it, like new enemy types, a little bit different objectives is pretty neat, but there's not too much for me to really commentate over. I mean, it's just kill some enemies. All right, well, previously we had to, for Into the Light Onslaught, we had to go into the portals. We instead now take a little transportation device to go deeper in order to free Elixir prisoners. So I do like the nice little thematic shift there. And, you know, it's not really a thematic shift. I'm just really big on saying the word thematic. You know, gotta shove that into everything I say because, you know, it's technically true, but not really the best word to describe what I'm saying at this particular moment. But I mean, it is kind of I mean, it does lean to the thematics, and obviously, but it is changing the flavor, thematics flavor. Same words. I'm just yapping. Same concept, essentially. You know, that's what really matters here. Freeing the prisoners instead of having to just, you know, fight some Scorn. I mean, we're still fighting Scorn, but I do like that we have our objective changed up and it's flavored differently. That's basically it. You know, it's just a reskin. It's repeating the same thing over and over again. I mean, come on. It's Onslaught. Second time around, we actually do have to fight a boss proper because, you know, it's the 10th wave. I do wish that, you know, I could just do the 50 wave first time around, but this boss is literally nuked. Wow, not even close. Yeah. Still, yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say. That's pretty easy. That might be the first. I don't think it's the first time I've heard this. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. It might be the first time I heard Spider talk. I normally do not give best dress to all black, but I think it's the helmet throwing me off slightly. Like, you know, I like the gold and, you know, black pattern. But I think the helmet is a little bit lame. But I think I was just clicking instinctively here. I probably still would have given best dress to the white and gold pattern because I just like the color scheme a little bit more. But I was just autopiloting because I'm trying to speedrun this. Of course, now I get, look, I'm just bombarded by pop-ups. Pop-up here, pop-up there, pop-up everywhere. Yikes. Come on. Look at this. There's a bottom pop-up giving me creating and applying ornaments. Really? I already did this tutorial. Why am I re-getting this? Why is that popping up now? I couldn't even read any of this previous stuff. Like, what is it? What am I reading here? Endure the onslaught, craft the counterattack, end the corruption. Wow, cool. I think the armor set actually looks pretty neat. I don't know if there's anything else here. Oh, I take a look at the artifact. Obviously, in the weapon slot, I mean, I don't really want to use any of these guns, but depending on what guns I do end up using, I'll probably switch it out to think, like this makes sense, right? Pulse rifle, shotgun, and the grenade launcher. Obviously, you got to get the grenade launcher. The second row is a little bit more difficult to parse through. I mean, I'm sure some YouTubers already given their detailed analysis on the artifact and the best perks or whatever, but let's see what I get here. I get Killing Breeze, rapid weapon, final blows grant you bonus mobility. Yes, that's what I want. More mobility. I probably misread that. I probably misread mobility as like, the bottom one looks a little bit better. Obviously, Fell the Revenant, increased weapon damage to Scorn. Scorn are the main enemy type. I don't know what the exact bonus to damage though is, based on the fact that it increases up to 4 times more on wearing Shadestalker armor. It might be 3%, and then 3% more for each armor piece, becoming 15% total. Could also be 5%, which would be 25% total increased weapon damage. Might be 5%. Obviously, I don't know the numbers on that. I'm sure it's on dim or something. They really not go for the bottom perk, the rapid impacts. You don't want it dealing damage to a grenade launcher temporarily. Increases the reload speed of grenade launchers. You don't want that perk. You don't want to get that perk. You want to get Killing Breeze over rapid impacts? Why would you get? Okay, I'm trolling. Clearly, you know what? Oh, look at this. Here we go. I'm pulling out the new Liturgy grenade launcher anyways. Like, what is happening here? All right, gonna go ahead and return to Eido after doing a little bit of inventory stuff. You know, no big deal. All right, that completes Act 1 prologue, and I believe that is it completely for all of Act 1. Overall, definitely a better start than Episode 1, Act 1. Like, definitely by far a better start than Episode 1 on Act 1. Because if we think about it, like, what happened in Act 1 of last episode? We talked to Failsafe and collected data. Same thing in Act 2 of Episode 1. So already we are off to a better start. I kind of liked, okay, I guess technically I like the concept of the Vex becoming more independent from each other, or becoming independent. I think I like that concept a little bit more than Fickrell trying to turn all Elixir into the Scorn. But I mean, we're doing like the same thing, kind of, right? We're turning like we're manipulating a previous already existing faction into a newer faction that's different in some sort of way than the old one, breaking free, showing change, showing evolution. I also kind of just like the Vex. Okay, in theory, I like the Vex more than the Elixir. But I think the Elixir by far, like in their representation in the game, is so much better than the Vex. Like, name one Vex enemy that isn't Maya Sunderesh exactly. The Drifting Mind, but I remember that because that's only because that was my first Nightfall and I struggled an hour against it, so probably gonna remember that one. And it took me like a couple seconds to even figure it out. Oh, I guess there's the other mind, the whatever mind. Oh, there's the ones there's the big dude, the Soul Construct or whatever from Garden of Salvation. Are these really big Vex enemies that come to your mind? No. Elixir have so many more named characters. Like we brought them all in here. Like the Vex storyline, we had to come up with an entirely new villain and then give Saint and Osiris something to do. So it's complicated, but I do think at least episode 1 here, or act 1. Oh, look at this. Episode 2, Revenant, act 1. Definitely much better than Echoes already. For sure. The cutscene's great. Thematically, great. Music is good. Big fan of the spooky necromancy stuff. Obviously, just look at my channel, my thematic leanings. I like the new Knight modified Scorn look. Pretty intimidating. Big fan of the Halloween spooky aesthetics. Come on. The dark castle vibes. I hope we get a little bit more, hope we get some like more vampiric stuff popping up here. I mean, we are called the Slayer Baron. I kind of want, something wacky to happen with us being Slayers. Maybe Figral raises a ancient, something from the dead, and we have to fight like a crazy beast or something. But that's probably getting a little bit too ahead of myself. And if it does appear, that's probably gonna be an exotic mission. Yeah, I mean, not really too much more for me to say here. I will go ahead and do the Vespers host, I believe that's the name of the dungeon, soon after this though. Make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for that.